Calm, focus, happiness.
Reach new heights of calm, focus, and happiness. You're on Mindfulness Mode with me, your host and mindfulness life coach, Bruce Langford. Mindful Tribe, I'm here with a very successful coach who has won gold medals. She's done a lot of coaching with rowing, and we're going to find out a lot more about what she does with her coaching, and I'm very impressed. I read some material that she wrote in a book called Winning Mindset, and she wrote a chapter in this book, and that's how I got to know Anastasia. I'm here today with Anastasia Pavlatou. And Anastasia, are you in mindfulness mode today?
What? I didn't hear you.
Are you in mindfulness mode today?
Yes, a little bit.
Okay, that's good. So Anastasia, what does mindfulness mean to you?
Mindfulness, when you want to do something and you have to stay focused in that you want to succeed. You don't have to be distracted, and you don't have to judge yourself. You have to be positive about what you want to do.
Exactly. That's certainly what I believe as well. And I want to share with Mindful Tribe, I want to share your bio, tell a little bit more about you. Anastasia Pavlatou is a rowing coach and athlete, having achieved over 80 medals in rowing, including both indoor rowing and coastal rowing. Coastal rowing is a more extreme, adventurous form of rowing, usually taking place along a sea coast and out into the rough sea waters, resulting in exhilarating speed and thrills. So I'm very interested to talk to you, Anastasia, about that. She has a degree in sports management as well as a degree in business administration. She has expertise in the topic of stress, having specifically studied pre-race stress in rowing athletes. She's also well-versed in the languages of English, French, Greek, and sign language. So Anastasia, thanks very much for being on the show today. I appreciate it.
Thank you a lot for your invitation.
Yeah, you're welcome. So what got you into rowing? How did that become an interest to you in your life?
My cousins started rowing, and they asked me to go with them. So I love this sport, and I started as an athlete, and I continued as a coach and as an athlete too.
Yeah, how old were you when you started rowing?
When I started, I was 15 years old.
Okay.
Then yes, I continued, and I continue until now.
Yeah, and your bio says you've earned over 80 medals in rowing. That's a lot of medals.
Yes, I participated in a lot of races, especially national championships and other local races here in Greece.
Cool. Now, tell me about coastal rowing. This is something I was not familiar with until I looked it up. When did you first start coastal rowing and becoming interested in that?
I participated in 2016, if I remember well, when it took place in Thessaloniki, and it was a worldwide championship, and it was my first experience. I have never participated, or I have never heard of this sport because it is a new one. And after that, I took part at France, and then in some local races at Thessaloniki. And about 2 months ago, at Thessaloniki, it was held the first national championship where I took part, and with my co-athlete, we won the second prize.
You did, second prize. You must have been so proud of that.
Yeah, I'm very proud.
Yeah, so how scary is it? I mean, it sounds like a very risky sport.
It depends, because at Thessaloniki the weather wasn't very bad, let's say. So the waves are not so huge, but okay, it's a very nice experience.
So when I researched it, it said it's a very different technique than it is if you're doing ordinary rowing. What are the differences?
There are a lot of differences. First of all, the boats are different. We use different oars. The technique is different because you have to make like a slalom. It depends the race, because there is the sprint coastal rowing and the long distance, about 4 and 6 kilometers. So you have to make like a slalom between the poon, the signs that there are in the sea, and you have to make like the skiers like a slalom in the sea. And you have to work a little bit with your body when you have to turn over the signs. And then in the sprint coastal rowing, you have to run when you start and when you finish. You have to run in the beach before you enter in the boat.
How far do you have to run?
It's about 15 meters. It's not, it's a very far distance.
Well, that's interesting. So you run and then you get on the boat, and how many people are on the boat with you?
Or if you are a single, a solo, double or quadruple.
Okay, I see. What is the medal that you've won that you're most proud of, that you were most excited about winning?
It was a race with another girl. We ran for a double skiff, and we were about to win between the third and the fourth position. And the competitors were very close to us, and there are a lot of voices around us. And we were very close, especially for the last 250 meters. And finally, when we heard the beep of the beep when you end the race, and it was amazing because we were waiting for the results because we didn't know who won. And when we heard the name of our team, we were very happy.
Oh, wow. When was that?
It was an exhausting race.
Yeah. How long ago was that?
It was about 8 years, seven years.
Right. Wow.
But it was very nice because I felt that I was, I didn't have any more energy, power, nothing. I had given everything I had, even mentally and bodily.
Right. Well, what I found out about you in this book, Winning Mindset, and the subtitle of the book is Elite Strategies for Peak Performance. I was very impressed because I have never interviewed a rower before. So I'm really interested in the rowing that you do, but also the coaching that you do. And one of the things that you said in the article is that you said by drafting a plan, athletes are able to define how they will be able to fulfill their dreams, which in the future will become goals. And I always thought that you set goals first. But based on that sentence, you don't set goals until later. You create a plan, and then you start to fulfill your dreams. So is that true? You don't start with goals?
First of all, you should have dreams. Afterwards, you have to turn your dreams into goals because, okay, everyone has a dream. But if you don't do anything, you cannot achieve your dream, let's say. So you have turned your dream into a goal. And you have to put small targets, you have to put, first of all, small targets and then to become to longer targets. So If you want to succeed in something, you have to focus on yourself. You have to be clear what you want to do, and you have to push a little bit yourself, not stay only on what you want to do. You have to stress yourself a little bit more because you want something. So if you want to do something, you have to be stressful.
Right, right. There has to be some stress involved. Yes.
I want short-term and long-term targets you have to put on yourself. And if you want to succeed in long-term targets, first of all, you have to succeed in short-term targets.
That makes sense.
Because during your short-term targets, you may have some failures. So you have to overcome and you have to continue if you want to succeed.
Right. And you have to be careful that those failures don't pull you down too much, correct?
Yes, of course. But, you know, sometimes, not sometimes, most time, a failure gives you more power and then strengthens you more. So you have to keep on, don't stop. That's what you need. You need the coach. You need the great environment around you. You need people to help you, to support you, to continue your goal.
Yeah, you talked about how you really need your targets to be very specific, and you have to be careful the targets are not too broad and general, right?
Yes, of course. You have to be, that's why I told you that you have to make a draft. You have to write down what you want to do. For example, I want to participate in a local race, for example. So you have to say what I want to do in that local race. I want to become first, and how how can I come first? I have to do, for example, 5 days practice, or I have to study some things, to do weightlifting and things like that, to do more running.
Right.
You have to organize your practice. Yourself and your coach have to be a support to you. And you have, every time you have to write down what you did. So the next time you have to follow the same program, you have to be well organized and check what you did. So next time you have to be better.
Right. Yeah. You emphasize the importance of writing them down. It's really important to write them down, right? Because then it goes into your brain.
Yes, because when you write down what you want to do or what you have done or things like, or what you want to do, you have to write them, because sometimes, you know, one of our senses is more great. So when your eyes see what you wrote, it's more easy to turn it to see it and understand what you want.
Let's talk about visualization. You talked about that in the book. What can we do using visualization to make this process work more effectively?
Visualization is when you try during your practice to react like being in a race. For example, to not only in the way of technique or how to organize, for example, the 2 kilometers that it is a race of rowing, that how you behave. For example, if something happens, what are you going to do? You have to have another plan to continue. So it is very important to be focused on what you are doing during your practice and how you are feeling. You have to develop a mindset positive, not negative. So it is very useful during your practice to try to control that and improve it day by day until the last day when the race arrives.
Exactly. Yeah. You were very clear in your writing about how important it is to visualize. And you're also very clear about something else. You said it's really important to have support from family environment. Tell us about that.
Yeah, it's very, I feel as an athlete, it is very important to me to have my family and friends or people who are positive to what I am doing, and to understand that it is very important, and that I need their help to support me. So my family and my coach have to be there, have to be my positive mind, because when during a race you have a mixture of feelings, some negatives, some positives. So you need an environment that push your positive feelings to get out.
Right, that makes sense. Let's talk about the children that you work with. You told me that you work with a lot of children. Do you work with them one-on-one? Do you work with them in groups? What does that look like? In groups?
In groups.
And how old are the children?
They are 11 years old until to 14, 15 years old.
And are all of those children involved in rowing?
Yes.
Okay. So how do they find you? How do you get connected?
It is my team, and they watch on television rowing, and they ask their parents to come and learn rowing.
Right. And so are all these children close to you physically, or do you sometimes coach people online?
Are in groups, and then during the practice, you try to correct or to learn one by one. You have to learn them, first of all, what is the sport of rowing. Then you have to teach them the technique of rowing. And then apart from the boat, you have the ergometer. So you have to teach them ergometer too.
Have you ever had anybody move to your country so that you could coach them?
Yes, we had some people, because especially in summer, they came for their vacations. And so because our club is very close to sea, and they come for their walk and things, and bicycle. And so they see the club, and they asked to come for a month or 2 months during their vacation. And yes, I coach some people, not a lot, but some, yes.
Sure. Can you tell us about somebody that you've coached who has really met with success in a big way?
There are some athletes who came and started very, that they don't know if they like the rowing, if they want to continue. But during the practice and the way that my club react to athletes, and they liked it a lot. And yes, we have especially adults who begin as first experiencing people, and they continue as athletes for championship. I think it's very important that there is the team, the word team in our club. We are like a team, or like a family, I would say. If the environment is very like a family, you get affected and you like it and you want to stay there, and you push yourself, and you want to be a better athlete because you get influenced by other athletes.
Sure. Are there some other sports that people move on to from rowing? Is there a natural transition to another sport from rowing?
It is the running.
Is it? Okay.
Yes, because during rowing you work a lot on aerobic, so it is let's say easier to go to such a sport, especially long distances in running. Yes, there are a lot of athletes, and as an athlete too, I participated in running races.
Are you still a runner?
Yes, sometimes if I have time, yes.
Right, sure.
Because it is a part of our practice.
Okay, I see. So how long do you usually run if you go out for a run?
It depends of the program we have each day. For example, maybe a day you have to run about 10 kilometers, other day 5, it depends.
So what is it about being a coach for rowing that excites you the most?
First of all, I love rowing, so it is the first factor. Secondly, I like a lot children. I like to be in contact with children. And I would say that I love what I do. I love to coach athletes. I love to be in a team with adults or with children. I love to be part of a team.
Right. Yeah. Yeah.
And I love to transfer my knowledge to others.
Yeah, sure. Sure. Do you find that there are an equal number of boys and girls, or is this a sport that attracts more women or more men?
It depends. There are some years that we have more boys and other years that we have more girls. I don't know what is the reason, but yes, sometimes the boys are more and other times girls. But
Right.
I don't know what is why this happens.
Interesting. Yeah. I know that you're on LinkedIn and that
Yes.
Mindful Tribe, you can just type in Anastasia's name, Pavlatou in LinkedIn, Anastasia is Anastasia, and your last name is Pavlatou, and you're also on Instagram, isn't that right?
Yes.
Yeah, okay. And we can just type in your name on Instagram and find you?
Yes, of course.
Yeah, sure. That sounds great.
As Anastasia Pavlatou, not Anastasia, Natasha.
Natasha.
Yes, Natasha with S, not SH.
Okay, yeah, with SIA at the end. Is that right?
Yes, SA. Natasa.
Okay, NATASA.
Yes.
Okay, great. And that's on Instagram that we do that.
Yes.
Awesome. Now, I always ask a question about bullying, and I want to know if you have a story. Were you ever bullied, or do you have a story about bullying where mindfulness would have made a difference?
The truth is, I have never had the story of bullying. I can only tell you about, when young children start rowing, they are a little bit shameful, shy, and they cannot be part of a team. So some children that they are sure about themselves, satisfied, they can stand on their foot, they can be part of a team. But others, you have to make a lot of effort to make them part of your team, of the team. Only that. I can only see that some children have a difficulty to get involved.
And what do you do with them to help them get that team spirit?
I try to, to be the person who introduced this child in the team, to tell him the names of the other athletes, to give him some to take some not priorities, primitives, and to talk. Some people want to feel safe where they are. So if you can boost them a little bit, I feel that then they can develop themselves in the team.
Very interesting. As we move forward in the interview, I want to ask you 5 quick answer questions. So just 30-second answers are perfect. The first one is this: who is one person that has been an inspiration to you? One person who has maybe helped you be more focused or more mindful?
I would say my father.
Okay. And let's talk about emotions. How has the work that you've done and being mindful helped you deal with your own emotions?
When I started, it was very difficult, but as the year passes, I understood what I need to do. So yes, I felt that the last years I am more. I have a more positive way of thinking.
Wow, very good. Let's talk about breathing. How important is breathing for being a successful athlete? And what are some of your breathing practices? What are your comments on the importance of breathing?
Breathing is very important, especially for our sport, because you need to breathe a lot. And yes, breathe is a very important factor, especially before a race, because you have to control your breath. And if you, this is, you have to practice it during, before a race. So you have to learn how to breathe.
Your book, Winning Mindset, is a very, very interesting book. And I really enjoyed reading the chapter that you wrote in this book. I want to ask you, are there any other books that you would recommend that can help people get focused and have a winning mindset?
I don't have any book. I only can tell you that I have started now a new book about the nun who sell his Ferrari of Sharma, you know?
Yeah, I do.
That book I have started, and I liked it. I didn't finish it yet, but it's an interesting book.
Yeah, The Monk Who Sold His Ferrari, and it's by Sharma, right? Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, I'll put that in our show notes. Are there any apps that either you use or you recommend to the people you coach that can help?
I didn't use any apps because of your because I tried to find some apps, and I find one about inner time set, if I remember well, something Insight Timer.
Yeah, Insight Timer. Yes.
Yes, but no, I don't use any applications. I just try to find my own methods to control either my stress, my anxiety, and things like that. But it is very close to the Insight Timer. When you want to relax, or when you are stressful, or you have nervous, you can listen to music, and it is a great opportunity that gives you energy but relax you too.
Yeah, for sure.
That feeling, especially, for example, during before a race, I used to listen to music, but in certain songs that I like and that I know that they will give me energy, power to be to fulfill my race.
What's one song that really gives you energy and power?
It's The Numb. It's a great song. That it is okay. It's a little. It's not a slow song.
Yeah,
but a nice song.
Great. Anastasia, it's really been exciting to talk to you. I've really enjoyed it. I want to ask you, before we wrap up the interview, if you have any words of advice for any athlete out there who is just working hard, trying to be successful, and they're experiencing some challenges. What would your words of advice be to that person?
First of all, as I said to my athletes, to enjoy what he did, what he wants to do. First of all, if you are enjoyed about what you choose, then you're going to be happier. Secondly, I would say to stay focused when they set their targets. And lastly, to not to get disappointed when they fail.
That's good advice. Yeah, because we all experience failure at one time or another in life, that's for sure. And if we can learn from that, that's
yes, of course. As I have watched in a documentary, they said that when you take a lot of no's, then when the yes will come would be a great yes.
Thank you so much for being on the show. I really appreciate it.
Thank you.